guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to talk about something a little different. Engine stands and engine cranes. Okay, if anyone's familiar with the engine stand, this design with the splayed legs, I opted for this because of the splayed legs and being that much more stable, especially over the one with the single front leg, just with single cast. I've seen disasters happen with those engines tipping over, all that messy stuff. And then there's the other one with the leg coming out the front with the T. That's obviously in a much improved design, but because of the sheer size of the 6.3 V8 M100 coming out, I wanted something even stronger, something that I really rely on. So I went with this one. But those of you familiar with this are probably familiar with the problem of the engine stand in conjunction with the engine crane. The engine crane has a similar splayed leg design, and let me show you where the problems arise. Well, as you can see, the problem's pretty obvious. The two splayed legs, though very stable, conflict with each other, trying to load and unload engines onto the engine stand. It won't go literally any further than this, and I'll show you in a second, but with the full reach of the crane at the half-ton setting, it still really can't reach safely. I've seen people moving these off to the side like that, and then you're severely off center. I was able to unload the block from this, but as far as attempting to unload or load a full dressed engine, forget about it. It's just too dangerous. I've seen people raising one leg, which makes this unstable. I've even seen a video, I think it was Eric the car guy had an engine tip doing that, and so with all the money I'm putting into the block work and everything, I'm certainly not going to take the risk of something tipping over and breaking. So what we're going to do, I'm going to add an extra leg in the center with a T design similar to those other designs. Then that enables me to roll these legs up out of the way, load the engine, bring it out, and then bring these legs out and then remove the center leg. I think that's the only way I could come up with something that's safe and solid and secure and enable me at the setting of the 1 ton setting on the arm. So I'd like the 1 ton setting on the arm to be able to load the crane. Let me pan out and I'll show you what we're going to do. So I've just lifted the engine stand on to give me an idea of where I'm going to go to get this hook assembly well past the center point. So like I say, this is set on the 1 ton reach on the crane, and what we're going to do, we're going to need to get this measurement between here and here to enable us to know where the T goes essentially. These will be in the up position, and then this will be able to come in snug, and then we'll pull out. So let's get the receiving bar welded on this beam here, and then I'll put some reinforcement plates on there as well. So that stays there, that piece, and then the center piece can be removable with its own caster setup. Alright, there's our T. I haven't welded anything together yet. This section's the receiving hitch essentially, and I just shot down to the car store and bought one of these pins that will go through here and here. So this will be welded on. This will go in here. I'll go in about all the way to the bottom there. Pin go through, then we'll have this guy there, and we'll have our casters underneath on plates, and then I'll probably put some gussets here and gussets on here. So I'm not showing you all the cutting because obviously you know how to cut metal with one of those or some of those things. So anyway, so what I'm going to do, go down to the lower shop, drill a hole right through this and this, so we're nicely lined up, and then I can start cleaning all these up ready for welding and getting that prepped ready for welding. So, alright, so I've taken the top section off here just so I can get a good close weld close to the edge there, and trued everything up, make sure everything's at 90 and dead straight, and got that piece there clamped on to keep it straight, and we'll just put some tacks in there and then weld that on. Obviously making sure our holes are on the side here for the pin. Right, there it is, welded at the bottom there, pin in, shaft on, and the T-bar tacked on. And I'm just going to attack all 4 corners and then go one side, and then complete opposite side. Otherwise, if you just go 1-1, you could it starts to pull and buckle. So you want to do this side and then go to complete opposite and then opposite. Right, yeah, it's coming out pretty good. Right, that's all welded up. A pretty good bead on there, good penetration. And what I'm going to do now is find some metal to run some gusset plates across here. Possibly the same here, run a couple of gussets. And then my lower plates for the casters will go on here. I've got some 3/4 inch plate kicking around somewhere to make up the height for the caster. It doesn't have to be exact actually, because I can lift it and you know, lift it or lower it. But it's going to be around about the same height as these guys. So yeah. There you go, a couple of good gussets on there, got good welds, both sides, everything's very, very strong now, so not got any concern about any breakage there. So next thing to do is put some here. I'll just put a couple, similar to this one, just do 45s here, and then all we've got to do is put our caster plates on for the mounting of the casters, and we're done. There we are, so that's all gusseted up now. Real happy with the way that came out. These were actually 1/4 inch plates here, so it's well strong. So I've kind of sanded it up. I'm going to degrease it, and then I'm going to, because I don't have this red colour and it's powder coated, I'm just going to paint this black to kind of match with the head unit. Doesn't matter, obviously, it's an engine stand. And who cares, but while I've got it, might as well, and obviously we don't want it rusting. So now we've got that in there. I did a little painting last night. Now we've got the height to figure out for the casters down here. Let me get... I've got some 3mm plate here, which I think will work just fine. You can see just there. That will go under there, and that will just lift that. So we've got plenty of play here, because there's a fair amount of, you know, up and down movement. So I'm going to get these plates, probably actually have to be that way around to access the nuts. So I'm going to cut the correct 3mm plate, drill the holes through, weld those plates on, and then paint it all up, and then we're done. Right, now I've got these holes drilled, and these are all cleaned up, ready for the casters. I'll just give you a quick view. Now these casters I picked up fairly inexpensively from Harbour Freight, I think. Now the overall length, height with the plate, just to give you a reference, 4¼ inches from the bottom of the plate to the bottom of the wheel, and these are 4 inches basically from top to bottom, and they're actually classed as 3-inch swivel casters. That's obviously the diameter of the wheel. So, and they're fairly heavy duty ones. I think these are rated about 300 pound each caster. So they're pretty strong. And obviously not all the weight is on these casters. It's spread between the other ones on the engine stand. So let's get these positioned on the T-bar. We've got to mount them this way so we can have access to the nuts, not this way. So I will put them right on the end there. So let me get this surface thoroughly cleaned, clamped into place, and then welded on. And then what I thought I would do, I put the bolts through and then just put a little tack weld on the nuts so they're held. You don't have to do that, but I kind of like doing that. So let me clean that up and weld these plates on. Okay, so we've got the tower bolted all back up, and we've got paint on the T-bar now, and let's see if everything works. All our casters are on, so we'll just slide that into the top, put our locking pin through, and so now these guys can come up out of the way. Who's that guy? Now that the legs are up, if you were to say have an extra wide block on here, so these legs can, you know, if they're not able to come down, you can unpin them and then put them in down here, and then you're fine. So there you have it. So now let me get the camera and I'll show you inserting it next to the crane, so we can now load the engine up. Right, so let's say the engine's on the crane a little higher, but so now we can just move that straight in now and goes to there. So you've got plenty of room now. This is on the 1.5 ton setting. Even with the crane almost pulled all the way back to the 2 ton setting, you'd probably still be able to load the engine. Let me get the camera off the tripod and I'll show you a few details. So as you can see, our crossbar goes in a nice distance now. The 2 uppers are out the way. Makes everything really nice. So I'm very happy with the way that came out. Now before I finish up, I just want to go over all some measurements for you, for you. So if you end up building something like this, obviously you don't have to do exactly like I did, but so 3mm plate on these gussets. Again, use whatever you've got kicking around. 3mm plate on the caster plates on there. This is 2.5 inch square tube. It's a very heavy wall. This is the 3/16 stuff, a little over, a bit of an over the top there, but anyway, that's what I had. This is 2 inch square tube that goes inside, again 3/16. This stuff is a slightly lighter weight. I think this is, let's see, this is 1/8 inch. 1/8 inch is plenty. This is what this stand's actually made out of, so I believe so. Yeah, 1/8 inch, this stuff, so that's plenty. So you could go 1/8 inch, 2.5, 1/8 inch, 2, and then you'd be good. This section I ended up making 19 inches. This bar ended up being 25 inches. Again, you could make that longer, shorter, whatever your engine dictates. This receiving hitch part is 10 inches. And then we got a 2 inch pin that goes through, actually 2.5 inch pin I think. But you can get those at any trailer hitch place. And then a bit of black rust encapsulator paint, 3 inch diameter casters on there. And then you're good to go. So, and then like I say, a few hours of trinking around. It's kind of a fun project. And I think I already mentioned it, when these side legs are down in the down position and this is removed, this hitch could be used for other accessories. You know, you could have a receiver, and you could have or a bar that goes in. You could have an oil tray or tool tray down the bottom for when you're working on the engine. So that's just a thought. Anything you could really put down there. Catch tray for fluids coming out the bottom and all that stuff. So with a few hours and a little bit of material and a welder, you can convert this 1 ton Harbour Freight engine stand into something that really works very well with the crane. Now this is a Harbour Freight Pittsburgh, but it's pretty much identical. A lot of the cherry pickers with the wide stance there, and you can use it on those as well. So thanks a lot for watching, guys. Please hit like, share, subscribe and the notification bell, and I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.